Well, good morning. It's Tom Padula from Tom Padula TV on YouTube and Insegna Booksellers. And this is lesson 18, presentation 18 of Italian grammar. La pratica batte la grammatica, ma senza la grammatica non si può migliorare o perfezionare la lingua che vuoi imparare o usare. So, grammar is at the basis of all languages. And what I've done with this particular series here is go through the elements of Italian grammar and as a basis for the learning of Italian, not instead of. And it's the same thing with other languages as well. Welcome to Angela Dorisio. Good to see you, that you're coming on. That's what I need, a few more teachers to come on and help out. Maybe. But this is lesson 18 and this morning I'm going to concentrate on the present subjunctive, congiuntivo presente, of the auxiliary verbs and of the three conjugations. And after next week I will have finished the verb and then I'll liberate myself. There's only one more lesson after that where I'll touch on the reflexive verbs and the passive verbs, and then from after lesson 20, I've decided to keep going with pratica first, and then the grammar will play a secondary role. So it'll be a lot more fun then for me, because this journey, if you like, I share with you. And if you are interested in Italian and Italian culture in general and language, and to perfect it as well, because if we don't live in Italy, therefore we speak in English every day. Ma si può parlare in italiano perfettamente quando lo vogliamo, ma non come gli italiani, perché loro poi aggiungono le lingue locali, i dialetti che chiamano, e quindi è tutta un'altra cosa. Welcome to Maria Failla. Good to see a couple of people coming on that I know, and this morning I will analyze for you two songs, Violino Zigano and also Vecchio Frac by Domenico Modugno. And if there's time, there's a song that I've been practicing all day, for a couple of weeks now, Il Nonno Americano. I haven't done it on my other presentations. By the way, I am up to Canto 23 of Dante on Sundays, and 24 this coming Sunday now, and you can access those in insegna.com in the blog section as well, and a few other things. But of course on my Facebook page, if you go down the page, you will see all of my podcast presentations as they are now. Then there's on Thursdays I do World History, and with World History now I might dedicate a little bit more time to the north part of Asia and Europe with the Vikings, etc. And then I'll go down to Africa. And after that, again, it's the same as with Italian. After my initial presentation of the journey that I wanted to undertake, I'll come back and have more fun with more details in particular areas. Because history as well is world history. Most state education systems, they look after themselves. You know, they do the history of the local, of the country, of the state. Therefore, there isn't much time in schools, but I want adults to remain in school all their lives, because you can, especially today, you can actually access a lot of knowledge online, and it's all free anyway. If you're interested. If you're not interested, well, then go to dance, sing, do whatever you want, cook, go for golf, whatever. Welcome, Benny, as well. So it's 11:28. The present subjunctive, I just want to mention something about the subjunctive altogether. The subjunctive mood is not for main sentences, it's for the clauses in a sentence. Now, I don't have the examples now. That's not my intention. My intention is just to present them. And I've noticed in some very well-known Italian grammars, local Italian grammars, that that the subjunctive wasn't conjugated the way it's supposed to be. It was very interesting for me to discover that after so many years. And I thought, and of course I do, you know, the English as well. And the English is, they don't sort of tend to use the subjunctive like in Italian. You have to identify it in order for you to translate into the other languages. And I just want to mention that on Fridays, but only for half an hour, from 11:25 to 12 o'clock, and I'll do it this Friday as well. I'll be teaching French, the 4 parts, listening, speaking, reading, writing, and one other language that I don't know from the 20 languages I have here at Insegna.com. So I'm having fun. I don't claim to be perfect in all these things. I make lots and lots of mistakes. When I listen to myself again, when I walk, I listen to what I say and I thought, oh God, did I make a mistake there? But it doesn't matter. The main thing is to remain happy and to keep going. You can always make mistakes and you only learn from the mistakes. What you know, nobody will say anything about. That's why the musicians and the singers, they want everything perfect. They don't want to be told that they're making a mistake. But the really good ones, they don't mind making mistakes, including Pavarotti. As a result of that, one of the local singers says, ma Pavarotti non sa cantare, quell'altro, come si chiama lui, Bocelli. So, there you are. The people who are truly wonderful people are the ones who remain humble when they present the knowledge that they know. And there's always mistakes. That's the human condition, if you like. It's 11:31. I'm going to start. Present subjunctive of auxiliary verbs, essere presente. So here we go. Hang on, I'll show it to you. There we are. I've written it out for you. Present subjunctive auxiliary verbs, essere, to be. Now, in Italian, you can't say io sia. You've got to say che io sia. That che means that this particular tenses of the congiuntivo cannot be used in a main sentence. They have to be in a clause. And it covers hypothetical situations. So the present subjunctive is che io sia, che tu sia, che lui o lei sia, che noi siamo, che voi siate, che loro siano. Now, how do you translate that into English? The grammar that I saw only had I am, you are. I couldn't believe it. But anyway, present subjunctive in English is that I may be, that you may be, he or she may be, that we may be, that you may be, that they may be. Now, I will refer to these verbs when we do the pratica. Just be patient, another few lessons, and we'll go to the pratica full time. But I have to present these. So that's for the essere, right? Of course, the auxiliary verbs, the auxilia means to help, is also for the verb avere. Here we go. Now that was the congiuntivo passato. What am I doing here? Congiuntivo presente, here we go. Yes, congiuntivo presente, and then I'll do the passato. Or should I do I'll do the presente first, of avere. Here we go. Avere, to have. Che io abbia, che tu abbia, che lui, lei abbia, che noi abbiamo, che voi abbiate, che loro abbiano. And in English, that I may have, that you may have, that he or she may have, that we may have, that you may have, that they may have. So this is the present subjunctive in English of the auxiliary verbs, of the two of them. Now, the next one will be the present subjunctive of the are verbs. Verbs like parlare, ballare, lodare. Okay? And you have to put that che in front not to confuse it with the others. Subjunctive, don't forget. Okay, for clauses. Che io parli, che tu parli, che lui o lei parli, che noi parliamo, che voi parliate, che loro parlino. So notice that the present in the indicative mood in some of the voices is the same. but the situation changes in terms of, what you're trying to say. This is an hypothetical situation. Okay, so when you say noi parliamo, etc., that's indicative. But che noi parliamo, that becomes subjunctive. So present subjunctive in English is that I may speak, that you may speak, that he or she may speak, that we may speak, that we may speak, that they may speak. Simple. That's a present tense, present subjunctive. And it's the same with the ere verbs. Perfect subjunctive, conjunctive, and we went on to that. The second conjugation verbs ending in ere. And don't forget, the ere verbs have got a lot of irregular verbs within the voices. So here we go. Che io creda, che tu creda, che lui e lei creda, che noi crediamo, che voi crediate, che loro credano. That's the subjunctive. Whereas in the present tense, io credo, tu credi, lui crede, noi crediamo, voi credete, loro credono. You have to know them like you know the mathematical tables, which the kids today don't learn off by heart. So learning things off by heart trains the mind and does away with, with old age sicknesses as well. I hope that I won't get it. I'll keep on trying with my languages, but, I still already forgetting a few things. So Alzheimer's, it's a terrible disease. But, you have to practice it with the mind and socially and physically and everything else. Here we go. Present subjunctive of credere. In English, to believe. That I may believe, that you may believe, that he or she may believe, that we may believe, that you may believe, that they may believe. And that's the present subjunctive. I'm going to do the past as well because, whilst I'm at it, I might as well just present it. See, there you are. I made a mistake. I was watching TV and I thought, that was the subjunctive. But we're not going to do that yet. We're going to do the ere verbs. The congiuntivo, okay, presente of ere verbs like finire, sentire, and the others. Okay, and that's what's that? Congiuntivo presente, okay. Lucky me, I thought perfect subjunctive. That's the wrong one, see? I made a mistake there. That perfect is wrong, no good. Naughty boy, red. There you are. So you can make mistakes. Subjunctive present tense. Here we are, of the third conjugation. Che io no. Well, that's the past. This is the present. So I was right in the other one. The other one I was right. Naughty boy. Back again. There you are. That's the so I will do that later. All right. So the present subjunctive of the third conjugation. Here we go. Che io apra of aprire. Finire, partire, sentire. Che io apra, che tu apra, che lui, lei apra, che noi apriamo, che voi apriate, che loro aprano. Let's change that with finire. Che io finisca, che tu finisci. Partire, che io parta, che tu parta, che lui, lei parta, che noi partiamo, che voi partiate, che loro partiano. There you are. Sentire, che io senta, che tu senta, che lui lei senta, che noi sentiamo, che voi sentiate, che loro sentano. That's an easy one. So that's where there's a problem there when you meet it. But when you read novels and you read, do a lot of reading, these things become clear. But if you can have a reference to say, well, that's a subjunctive. Now let's have a look at it. And, in the practice, that's where you actually learn to overcome these difficulties. And as I said, adults can learn languages much more easily than children because all we have to do is transfer what we know from English, from the language we speak, to the other language. Because the cognitive part in our brain will allow us. But the only problem with adults, then you don't get the practice. You need the passion, and then you can get there much more quickly than children. Because they don't have the cognitive part until they learn the grammar. But they've got plenty of time, And that's all. So in English, that I may open, that you may open, that he or she may open, that we may open, that you may open, that they may open. So what did I say in the note? Verbs with present tense in isk follow the same patterns in the present subjunctive, i.e. che io finisca, che tu finisca. See, I picked that up. Che lui, lei finisca, etc. So that's the present tense of the subjunctive of auxiliary verbs, are, ere, and ire verbs. Now, let's do the past tenses. Here we go. Now, this is the perfect tense, perfect subjunctive or past subjunctive of auxiliary verb essere, to be. Don't forget, whenever you use essere, the past participle can be either masculine or feminine. If female, it has to be stata or state, right? Okay, so here we go. Che io sia stato, o che io sia stata, che tu sia stato, che lui, lei sia stato, che noi siamo stati, plural, che voi siate stati, che loro siano stati. And if you're a female, che io sia stata, che tu sia stata, che lei sia stata, che noi siamo state, che voi siate state, che loro siano state. So that's how it works. Now, in the perfect subjunctive in English, that's an interesting one here. You have to do that I may have been, that I may have been. So you use the present tense of the auxiliary verb to have. You can't say sono. You can't say che sono. Even that I may be. See, because of been, see that? Past, but the auxiliary of essere in the perfect subjunctive is to have. It's a funny one. That I may have been, that you may have been, that he or she may have been, that we may have been, that you may have been, that they may have been. And if somebody can explain it to me, say, ring me up, say, Tom, you should have said that I may be been. No, it doesn't work. See what I mean? It's not, and this is an unusual thing for this particular auxiliary essere. But the auxiliary of avere is avere as well. So that's the funny part. So here we go. Che io abbia avuto, che tu abbia avuto, che lui, lei abbia avuto, che noi abbiamo avuto, che voi abbiate avuto, che loro abbiano avuto. Easy one for the past tense there. Okay, because it's che io abbia, che tu abbia is the present. But avuto, you add the past participle and you get the English. And in English is that I may have had, that you may have had. So the past participle of avere in English is had. That he or she may have had, that we may have had, that you may have had, that they may have it. So that's the one. That's it. So when I finish with all this, I will have all of the verbs, both in Italian and English, and then eventually I'll have them in the other languages as well, if you follow my gist. But here we are, perfect subjunctive of the first conjugation verb, parlare. Ballare, lodare, are. Now, let me see. I haven't shown my face for a little while. Look, the verb is the motor of the language, in a way. But all the other parts are important. And therefore, knowing all this and applying this into practice is a lot harder. Because you have to speak the language all the time, you have to, practice it. And this, if you are not educated in Italy properly, and if you speak local languages, I don't like calling them dialects anymore because it's a put down. So if you say local languages, welcome Colleen, good to see you. Colleen Ransley, good. Now, we are doing the first conjugation, second and third conjugation, the perfect tense of the conjunctive mood. And you remember the moods? There are, how many moods are there? You remember them? Here they are. There they are. Oop, the moods. Where are the moods? Here we go. Okay, indicative mood, imperfect. There we are. The moods are in the front here. There we are. See that? Indicative, conditional, subjunctive, imperative, gerund, participle, infinitive. We've done the indicative. I've done all of these in the actual presentation from lesson 1, which you can access. I've done the conditional, imperative, gerund, participle, and infinitive. The subjunctive is the last one, and this is the perfect subjunctive. So there's one more of the tenses. In the subjunctive, there are only 2 tenses, present and imperfetto, and passato prossimo e trapassato prossimo. And in English, we say present and imperfect and perfect and pluperfect. And I like to say, it's not perfect, I like to say past, but that's me. Okay. So we go according to, what they do in grammar books. And don't forget, here at Insegna, I have a warehouse full of books, which are in my warehouse, and they keep me a lot of company. It's fantastic. Now and then, like little birds, 1 or 2 go out, but not too many. We don't want them to go away too fast, do we? Okay. Past perfect subjunctive in the other verbs. Here we go. Parlare. Che io abbia parlato, che tu abbia parlato, che lui, lei abbia parlato, che noi abbiamo parlato, che voi abbiate parlato, che loro abbiano parlato. And in English is that I may have spoken, that you may have spoken, that he or she may have spoken, that we may have spoken, that you may have spoken, that they may have spoken. And it's the same then, of course, for all the other ones as well. The other verbs. Now, have I lost my... No, I haven't. Okay. Now, this is the second conjugation, and as I said, past subjunctive or perfect subjunctive of the verbs are inere, temere, ripetere, and credere. Credere is the one I used. Che io abbia creduto, che tu abbia creduto, che lui, lei abbia creduto, che noi abbiamo creduto, che voi abbiate creduto, che loro abbino creduto. It's a tricky one, isn't it? You'd expect abbiano, but it's abbino creduto. The past or perfect subjunctive in English is that I may have believed, that you may have believed, that he or she may have believed, that we may have believed, that you may have believed, that they may have believed. So that's the other one. And finally, when I finish this, it's the boring part, this part here, but it has to be done. Like all good things, you need to, the repetition in order to learn. So not only do you have an initial presentation, but then you need to cure yourself or your mistakes in that particular area. What do the doctors do? They look at you, they identify what's wrong with you, and then they say to the nurse, you look after this. And very few people actually come back, so they have help. And here, when you're learning a language, you have to go through this repetitious stage, if you like. And then you're going to go to the practical stage. That's how an adult will learn the language fast. You can learn it very fast, especially if you do a bit of theatre. Here we are. Finire. Che io abbia finito, che tu abbia finito, che lui, lei abbia finito, che noi abbiamo finito, che voi abbiate finito, che loro abbino finito, o abbiano. Well, how come I made a mistake there? Where is it? Let me see if I can find what it's like. Parla, modo congiuntivo, che essi siano, no, avere, I want avere. Essere, what is avere? Temere, avere. No, it's abbiano, it's not abbino. It's abbiano, I've checked it out. It's abbiano avere. Here we go. There we are. We found another mistake. But this is not a mistake, that's correct. Abbiano. But in the credere, when I use abbino, it's abbiano. It's not abbino. Okay. That I may have finished, that you may have finished, that he or she may have finished, that we may have finished, that you may have finished, that they may have finished. Now that's it. That's the presentation. That's walking through the forest, if you like, walking through the forest of the verbs. Now that was the present and the past tense of the of the auxiliary verbs are, and ere conjugations. Next week will be the imperfect subjunctive, and that'll be it. That'll be it. So you'll be able to access this, but you can also access what I've done in the grammar books. And also some of the courses have got this, but not all of them, because the generic courses in schools, they love practice. Everyone loves to eat a gelato. Not everyone wants to make one. Everyone loves to drive a car. Not everyone wants to fix one. But when you're doing grammar, you become a mechanic. You become the chef. So you really get to know your language very well. And as an adult, you should be interested in this if you are interested in the language, because this will give you what you need to have. And regardless of the language you're learning, you need to do the grammar. And you're doing it formally. And even when you do history, you can't do it in themes or topics. That's a no-no in my book. You have to present the children or the adults all of the world history. Then you got to the national, to the European or the Asian. Then you got to the national. Then you got to the state. Then you got to the local. Then you got to the personal. There's a lot of histories. But the one that's really important is to have an overview, like an eagle view of what you're going to do. Then we get in there. For example, I'm going to do now 11:50. You know, this morning, I in the past, when I've done these classes here, sometimes the technology didn't show me the time, so I didn't know when it's 11:50 now. I've done 20 minutes exactly on the verbs. Now, because I've done that on the verbs, 20 minutes, I couldn't see the time, and I had my second phone here for the time. This morning I forgot, and I thought, I hope that my screen will have the time along with it, because it has. And that helps me a lot, because I have to go on for an hour. So the technology, the use of technology too, requires a bit of patience. Don't blame yourself. We don't know everything. I'm struggling. I really am struggling with the technology, even though some people think that you know a lot. No. More to it than meets the eye. And the same with language. The same with learning as an adult. Adults have got an incredible potential to learn anything that they want, provided they want to do it. And, you know, I've been missing the teaching part. And I wrote a poem about Scuola e TV 30 years ago, where I said, wouldn't it be lovely to teach online so that the kids can switch on and switch off? They can't get bored with you. Well, you know, if you're successful in class, sometimes people are attracted to you not because of what you're teaching, but because of who you are. You know, the type of person you are. It's part of the game. But online, it's a different ballgame. You're actually sticking to the gun. But I'm not going to stick to precisely. I've got to give my philosophy as well. I need a breather from the grammar. Because now I'm going to do Violino Zigano. And if you've got the words of Violino Zigano, I'll sing it for you first, and then we'll analyze it. Here we go. I've got the words here, so you can do it too, okay? Let's see if I think you can see it. Okay. O zigano dall'aria triste e appassionata, che fai piangere il tuo violino fra le dita, suona ancora come una dolce serenata, mentre pallido nel silenzio ascolterò questo tango che in una notte profumata il mio cuore ad un altro cuore incatenò. Suona solo per me. O violino zigano, forse pensi anche tu a un amore laggiù, sotto un cielo lontan. Se un segreto dolor fa tremar la tua mano, questo tango d'amor fa tremare il mio cuor, o violino zigano. Tu che sogni la dolce terra d'Ungheria, suona ancora con tutta l'anima zigana. Voglio piangere come te di nostalgia, nel ricordo di chi il mio cuore abbandonò, come il canto che tu diffondi per la via, con il vento la mia passione dilegò. Suona solo per me, o violino zigano, forse pensi anche tu a un amore laggiù, sotto un cielo lontan. Se un segreto dolor fa tremar la tua mano, questo tango d'amor fa tremare il mio cuor, o violino zigano. And then it's a bit of whistling, and then questo tango è d'amor, ma il mio amore è lontano, suona, suona per me, pur se piango con te, o violino zigano. Well, welcome to Maria Ocean, Jeremy, and Zoraida Morris, and Colleen. I said hello. Now, let's go back and analyze this. Let's have a look. O zigano. Okay, in the Latin would have been O zigano is a vocative. In other words, the O is an exclamation. And the word zigano is gypsy. Dall'aria triste e appassionata. Dall'aria, analyze that one. The dal apostrophe, that's a preposition. Aria is singular for air. Now, the adjectives, there are two adjectives, triste e appassionato. Triste is sad, appassionato is passionate, passionate. Che fai piangere? Che, in this case here, aria che fai piangere. Now, that is really a pronoun that connects aria to the next sentence. L'aria che. Okay, so in that case it's which or that. Fai piangere, fai. Io faccio, tu fai, lui fa. Tu fai, fai. So you don't have the tu in front, and it's a present tense. Piangere is to cry or to weep, and that's an infinitive. Now notice here, il tuo violino, your violin, il article. Tuo in this case, possessive adjective. It's your violin, and it's before violino. Whereas aria, triste, appassionata, the adjectives they come after. Tuo in this case comes before. Fra le dita. Fra le dita. That fra is a conjunction. And those ones there you can learn off by heart because they're finite and they never change. So that fra, it'll always be fra. Doesn't change. Le dita, that's an irregular plural. Because dita, il dito, le dita. That's an irregular of the words. And that's when I do the pratica, I will refer to these irregularities of the language. And that's when we learn that, when you can put the practice in front, it's easier. It's easier. Suona ancora. Okay, suona. So, who's going to suona? Il violino. The violin suona ancora come una dolce serenata. Like ancora in this case, suona ancora when it's an adverb of time. Keep going. So, suonare, the adverb there is giving suonare a particular feel or taste, if you like. Come una dolce serenata. Like, in this case, yeah, come is a guess, conjunction. It come, like, or as, that's and, ma, but. Come una dolce serenata. Notice here a serenade. That's una is the article. It's easy. The articles are easy because there's the ones that are definite and the ones that are indefinite. Una is indefinite. Una serenata dolce, you could even say. But here it sounds better, una dolce serenata. Notice when you say, "O zigano dell'aria triste e appassionata, che fai piangere il tuo violino fra le dita, suona ancora come una dolce serenata." You couldn't say come una serenata dolce in this case. See, that's where the language, the melody in Italian comes in, knowing when to put the adjectives in the right place. But someone who does it practice, if you're a writer, you do these things automatically when you write, without even thinking. Now, mentre, whilst, that has to be a conjunction as well. There's no verb in front of it. It's connecting to the previous. Pallido, pale, nel silenzio, in silence, ascolterò, future tense of ascoltare. Io ascolterò, tu ascolterai, lui, lei ascolterà, noi ascolteremo, voi ascolterete, loro ascolteranno. So nel silenzio, in the silence, in silence. We don't say in the silence, but in English it's in silence. In Italian you can't say in silenzio. No, you have to say nel silenzio. But you could say in silenzio as well. Yes, I've seen it done before, but is it correct? That's the question. And that's what, depending on the type of teacher you have, some will say, no, you have to say nel. And, you know, the ones who sort of stickler by the rules. But it's not true. You can say in silenzio sometimes. Ti ascolto in silenzio. I don't listen to you nel silenzio. Ti ascolto in silenzio. I'll listen to you in silence. It's an adverbial phrase, in silence. Let's go on. Questo tango, this tango. Questo is a demonstrative adjective. Questo tango. Che. Now, the tango che. You don't want to repeat tango again, so you use that. The che in that case there is a pronoun. But che can also be a conjunction, depending on where you use it. In una. In is a preposition. Una, indefinite article. They don't combine. So con una, di una, da una. That's how it works. So once you know the prepositions and you know where to put them, then you can correct your own mistakes. In una notte profumata. Remember aria triste appassionata? Here we got notte profumata, not una profumata notte. But you could also say una profumata notte depending on the previous words. If you want to make them rhyme, it's allowed in Italian. It's not always black or white. And il mio cuore, il mio, adjective. Cuore, notice cuore is ends in E. It's one of those words that in this case is masculine. Why is it masculine? Because the previous article is the masculine. Il mio cuore. So someone who knows the language just does it automatically. But you can't say la mio cuore. Some people say, oh, well, why not? Ad un altro cuore. Ad. Il mio cuore ad un altro. That ID is a conjunction. It combines il mio cuore with un altro cuore. Ad. So my heart to another. Altro in this case, cuore, altro cuore is always before. Usually it's before, always. Incatenò. That's a good one. Who can tell me the verb, the tense? It's a past absolute. Passato remoto. Io incatenai, tu incatenasti, lui, lei incatenò, noi incatenammo, voi incatenaste, loro incatenarono. But that can also be incatenarsi, can also be a reflexive verb. Io mi incatenai, tu ti incatenasti, lui, lei si incatenò, noi ci incatenammo, voi vi incatenaste, loro si incatenarono. Notice there, we've done all that. That's called explication de texte in French. I learned that, thank you, bless you, the teacher, the professor, the teacher of French at university. And I also learned there the pronunciation of French in the same way. Because the first thing that the guy did when he taught me pronunciation and intonation to 700 kids in the public lecture theatre, and Angela would remember that, he explained the positions of the sounds coming back from your mouth. So he drew a mouth and he said, that's where it comes from. And that's beautiful. And that's how I learned to, to pronounce the Paris, hon, that sort of sound. Each language has a particular sound. The Italians have two sounds that other languages don't have. Gli specchi, gli, or ogni, insegna. That's why it's called insegna, because I wanted to teach everyone the GN, because they say insegna. But it's insegna, and I corrected. I've been correcting it for 50 years almost, 45 years. Okay. So that's that one there. So when you sing it again, Violino Zigano, and you can look, now the advantage of this is that Violino Zigano comes in all, a lot of singers, Italian singers have sung it, from Claudio Villa to all the others, Luciano Tajoli, all of them. All the new, they all have sung. And also their instrumentals. They're all available, guess where? On YouTube. Free of charge. Because YouTube must pay some sort of, fee each year to put these things on behalf of all those people. Well, welcome to Giuseppe Catoggio. Good to see people are getting interested. There'll be more and more people coming to these lessons, but they're not repeated lessons. So if you want to listen to me again for the same thing, you have to go to my blogspot or to YouTube or to insegna.com. In the section, insegna.com, in the blog section, B-L-O-G, blog. There's also, the other parts where you can browse at the books. There are a lot I've put in 3,500 covers and, always keep on going so that you can read the covers of the books. You don't have to buy the books, just got to read the covers to learn Italian. Build up your Italian words. Okay, so how are we going? Do you want to sing this again? O zigano dall'aria triste e appassionata, che fai piangere il tuo violino fra le dita, suona ancora come una dolce serenata, mentre pallido nel silenzio ascolterò questo tango che in una notte profumata il mio cuore ad un altro cuore incatenò. Suona solo per me, o violino zigano. So let's go on to the next bit. Tu che sogni la dolce terra d'Ungheria, suona ancora con tutta l'anima zigana. Tu, in this case, tu. Why? You don't have to say sogni la dolce, but in this case here you need it, because tu che sogni, I refer, it's like it's like almost a direct you are in front of me. It's a vocative, but tu che, you who, the che is I. No, you can't say tu. It's a pronoun. Tu che sogni, who dreams la dolce terra, the sweet land, the pretty land. It can't be sweet, can it? La dolce terra, the pretty land, the fairy tale land of Ungheria, of Hungary. Suona ancora. Keep playing. Ancora, suona ancora. What is that ancora? We said that before. It's after the verb. So what is it? It's an adverb. It has to be adverb. Con tutta l'anima. con tutta. Con is a preposition. Tutta, all. It's an adjective in this case. Tutta l'anima. Tutta, anima is feminine. And it's an L apostrophe, so you wouldn't have known whether it's masculine or feminine, but tutta gives it away. Tutta l'anima, d'Ungheria of Hungary. D'Ungheria, not dell'Ungheria, but d'Ungheria. Notice what happens there. Suona ancora con tutta l'anima. Voglio piangere, voglio, two verbs. Voglio, I want. To weep, to cry. So that piangere, if you like, is an infinitive of the verb. The infinitive of the verb. Piangere, tu che sogno, voglio piangere. Come te, like you. And what do you reckon come is in this case? Like you. It could be a conjunction or a preposition. Have to look it up. You have to interpret it. Come te voglio piangere di nostalgia, of nostalgia. Nostalgia, not nostalgia, nostalgia in English, nostalgia in Italian. In that case there, nostalgia, once upon a time they would have put an accent on the I. Nostalgia. Because the verb, the word nostalgia, G-I-A, is a diphthong. It's not an hiatus. A diphthong is when the vowels I combines with A, O, or U. It's called a diphthong. It's pronounced as one. Hiatus is not when it's pronounced separately. But in this case, nostalgia is not nostalgia. Nostalgia. It's nostalgia. So, in other words, this is one of those sounds that you have to learn because it's irregular. Nel ricordo, in the memory. Di chi? Now, di chi, in Latin, in German, they use the declensions. This would be a genitive. Nominative, genitive, ablative, accusative, vocative, and the last bit is an ablative. So when some languages don't have the prepositions, they use these declensions of words, and they put the verb right at the end of the sentence. So when you're studying languages in general, these are the differences that somebody who's interested in languages will be able to point out. But who's going to bother? I love this. Why? Because I'm learning as well. I never learned all of the invariable parts of speech off by heart, which I should have from day one. Which are the conjunctions automatically? Which ones are they? Bang, bang, bang. Which ones are the exclamations? Easy ones. Which ones are the prepositions? A bit more complex. Adverbs, a lot of adverbs. Adverbs of quantity, adverbs of time, adverbs of this, adverbs of that, and then there are a lot of other. So in other words, after the verb, the adverb is quite a big study in itself. So let's go on. So voglio piangere come te di nostalgia. And, okay, nel ricordo, in the memory, in my memory. Di chi? Of who? Il mio cuore, my heart, abbandonò. What my heart? Where do I abandon? What do I abandon in my heart? I abandoned la dolce terra d'Ungheria. You have to interpret it. Come il canto che tu diffondi per... Come il canto, come in this case, is a conjunction. Come, like il canto, the chant or the song. Che tu, that you, wherein diffondi, spread out, per la via, on the road. Per is a preposition. La via. La via is the actual, is a feminine word. The road, the street. So learning a language means you have a big vocabulary. build up your vocabulary. And then with the verbs, you can make sentences. And I'll show you, as soon as I finish with the verb and with the lesson 20, from lesson 21 onwards, it's going to be pratica. And I will be showing you how to write simple sentences. You'll be able to write thousands of sentences in no time at all. But you have to learn these things well if you want to really succeed. And once you learn, you can then teach Italian if you are interested. Or you can give people practice. So I'll show you. You don't have to do the grammar. You can do the practice. In fact, the Carberg High Evening School in the 80s, I had lessons for listening and speaking separate from reading, separate from writing. There were separate lessons. And, and adults then really, we had quite a big department. I had quite a big department there. I was there from 76 to 89 or something. Then a teacher came and said, "Can I do it?" And the minute I gave it the class, that was it for Tom. I just remained as a coordinator, but I was doing other things, so you got to pass it on. So you can't be selfish in these things. You want people to grow, you have to give them the opportunity to grow. And sometimes you have to pull back and let it happen. But then you miss, what you lose. You miss what you lose, basically. But you have to move on in life. It doesn't matter. Losses are to be handled with special care and love. That's the problem. Anyway, come il canto che di fondo con il vento, with the wind, with preposition, il vento, the wind. La mia passione, my passion, dileguò, like song, it was spread out, dileguò, send out. So, come il canto che tu diffondi per la vita, come il vento, la mia passione dileguò. Questo tango è d'amor, this tango is of love, ma il mio amore, but my love, è lontano, is far away. Pur se piango, even if I, pur, in this case, pur is, and se as well, they're both conjunctions. Pur se, separate. Piango, I cry, con te, with you. It's not a woman, it's not a man, it's o violino zigano, or my gypsy violin. And that's fantastic. Wow, look at this. I've got Salvina Pisano coming on, Angela Imola. Joe, fantastic. Good. So, Violino Zigano. So, I've spent quite a lot of time on this Violino Zigano because it's a very, very popular song in Italy. Now, do you think we could do it again? Or do we go, no? I think I've had enough of Violino Zigano. I'm going to bring you now to another song from Domenico Modugno. It's called Vecchio Frac. There it is, Vecchio Frac. I think a lot of people would know this. Now, what I might do here with this Vecchio Frac, I'll do some analysis because I also want to give you a song called Il Nonno Americano. Il Nonno Americano. Yeah, because I still remember the tune. I want to practice it with you, okay? And it's got a lot of imperfect tenses. But here we are, Vecchio Frac. Vecchio Frac. Again, Vecchio Frac. Domenico Modugno is big on YouTube. Here we go. You ready for it? Vecchio Frac. You know what a frac is? A suit, evening suit. Vecchio Frac. È giunta mezzanotte, si spengono i rumori, si spegne anche l'insegna di quell'ultimo caffè. Le strade son deserte e silenziose. Un'ultima carrozza cigolando se ne va. Il fiume scorre lento, frusciando sotto i ponti, la luna splende in cielo, dorme tutta la città. solo va un vecchio frac. Ha un cilindro per cappello, 2 diamanti per gemelli, un bastone di cristallo, la gardenia nell'occhiello e sul candido gilet un papillon di seta blu. S'avvicina lentamente, con incedere elegante, ha l'aspetto trasognato, malinconico ed assente. Non si sa da dove vien, né dove va. Di chi sarà quel vecchio frac? Bon nuit, bon nuit, bon nuit, bon nuit, buonanotte. Va dicendo ad ogni cosa, ai fanali illuminati, ad un gatto innamorato che randagio se ne va. Now, there are 2 parts to this song. There's another part. I'm not going to sing it now. I'm going to analyze this vecchio frac. Okay? And I'll do it for 10 minutes and then I'll stop, for another 5-6 minutes, then I'll stop. È giunta mezzanotte. È giunta, from giungere. Giunta. Giunto, arrived. Giungere is to arrive. È giunta. It has arrived. So giungere is a verb, second conjugation. It's an irregular verb. È giunta is perfect tense. Mezzanotte, midnight. Si spengono i rumori. Si spengono. That's what do you call it? An intransitive verb. Reflexive. Si spengono. It's an intransitive verb. That's what it is. Spegnere, from spegnere to light out. Si spengono i rumori. I rumori, si spengono normally le luci, but in this case i rumori are the noises. It's at midnight. Si spengono i rumori, so he's used a switch, if you like. Instead of using light, he's used voices. That's a beautiful way of using the verb spegnere. Si spegne anche l'insegna. Spegnere. Si spegne. In this case here, spegnere is also switch off. Also. In this case here, si spegne anche is a conjunction. Because it's si spengono i rumori anche l'insegna. It's not, that anche in this case is not an adverb. Again, prove me wrong. L'insegna. The word insegna. Insegnare means to teach. But l'insegna is also the what do you call it? L'insegna is in front of my place here, where it's written insegna. The billboard, the board, insegna. Di quell'ultimo, of that last coffee place. Bistro, or whatever, bar, of that last bar, di quell'ultimo caffè, quell'ultimo, notice ultimo, the last coffee, quell'ultimo, that's that, last. That in this case is demonstrative adjective. And because ultimo, the adjective ultimo starts with a vowel, then quello ultimo caffè, quello ultimo, the OG gets dropped off and you put in the accent. Le strade, the roads, sono deserte, are deserted. Deserted and in silence. Un'ultima carrozza, okay, a last carriage. Cigolando se ne va. We're not talking about this. Cigolando, carrozza in this case, the one that the horses pull. So carrozza, carriage. Cigolando, obviously the guy didn't have enough oil for his wheels. So cigolando. Il fiume scorre lento, the river next to the river. Scorre lento, scorrere, runs. Lento, in this case here, has to be an adverb because it describes how the river runs lento, slowly. Generally it should be lentamente, but he used the adjective as an adverb. Interesting. Frusciando, frusciando, rustling, frusciando, frusciando. Frusciare, generally, in this case it's the gerund. It's like an ing, frusciando, rushing, lying, thrashing, whatever. Sotto, under the bridges. Sotto, in this case, has to be a preposition. La luna splende, la luna, the moon, splendere, to shine, in the sky. Dorme, tutta, all the city sleeps. So, tutta la città dorme. But he put dorme, that's a subject. Tutta la città dorme. Dorme tutta la città. The other way around. Again, it's a poetic license. Solo va. That solo could be an adjective or could be an adverb. But in this case here, va solo. The solo doesn't refer to va, but it refers to un vecchio frac. So, solo va solo, only. So, only in this case, va solo. Is it an adverb? Is it a conjunction? That's what I said. I haven't done enough study on the invariable parts of speech. And that's di chi sarà quel vecchio frac? Who could be? S'avvicina lentamente. That's an interesting one. Lentamente. Finally, we get an adverb that ends in mente. Lentamente. Elegantemente. Candidamente. You can turn a lot of the adjectives into adverbs. Con incedere elegante, incedere with his walk, with his elegant walk. I haven't got the right word there. All'aspetto, l'aspetto, the aspect, his looks. Masculine, l'apostrophe. Trasognato, as if in a dream. Non si sa, one does not know where he comes from nor where he's going. Okay, it's 12:26. I'll just sing the second part, and then I'll go to the other one. I'll have a bit of fun now because I've done a lot of explanation. Let's go. È giunto ormai l'aurora, si spengono i fanali, si sveglia a poco tutta quanta la città. La luna s'è incantata, sorpresa impallidita, pian piano scolorandosi nel cielo sparirà. Sbadiglia una finestra sul fiume silenzioso e nella luce bianca galleggiando se ne van. Un cilindro, un fiore, un frac. Ha un cilindro per cappello, 2 diamanti per gemelli, un bastone di cristallo, la gardenia nell'occhiello e sul candido gilet un papillon di seta blu. Galleggiando dolcemente e lasciandosi cullare, se ne scende lentamente sotto i ponti verso il mare se ne va. Di chi sarà quel vecchio frac? Adieu, 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 adieu vecchio mondo, ai ricordi del passato, ad un sogno mai sognato, ad un abito da sposa, primo ed ultimo suo amor. Well, that was Domenico Modugno. And now I have this song here. I hope I hope I remember the tune, because this is a beautiful song. It's called Il Nonno Americano. Have you heard a Nonno Americano? Huh? Let's have a look here. I don't think anyone in Melbourne would have remembered this. Here we go. Il nonno americano. Il nonno americano quando ballava, ballava piano e la nonnina prendeva per mano. La dolce prateria riempiva i cuori di nostalgia se un organino suonava lontan. E tu invece, cara Mr. John, quando balli cadi in convulsion, il tuo nonno 50 anni fa, che abilità! Guidava la nonnina senza sciuparle la crinolina, la tua nonnina piccina, piccina, da poveri pionieri sotto le stelle senza pensieri, si sorridevano dicendosi di sì. Si cercava in Argentina 50 anni fa un miraggio di fortuna nell'immensità. I tuoi nonni, come tanti, sopra carri traballanti, si baciavano tremanti nell'oscurità. Il nonno americano sotto le stelle, la frusta in mano, guidava il carro lontano, lontano. La nonna in crinolina stringeva il seno, la carabina, e sussurrava tremando I love you. E tu invece, cara Mr. John, quando viaggi prendi il tuo wagon, tu diverti sperperi milioni a profusione. E bevi whisky e soda, ma non ricordo che un di la moda era più bella con gli abiti a coda. Le bimbe americane con le cuffiette, con le sottane, non conoscevano Sinatra e il boogie woo. Music, and then it goes right at the end, a lot of music, jazz music, fantastic stuff, and then it finishes, guidava la nonnina senza sciuparla la crinolina, la tua nonnina piccina, piccina, da poveri pionieri sotto le stelle senza pensieri, si sorridevano dicendosi di sì. I reckon I did that quite well. I did that all right. That's one I will eventually get there, and yeah, I look forward to my time with pratica and grammatica rather than grammatica e pratica. So next week is the congiuntivo imperfetto, trapassato, il perfect subjunctive next week, and then I will touch on the reflexive and the passive verbs, and that'll be the first journey. And then we'll do more and more practice with Italian, and I'll bring in the other elements of language learning, which is used a lot in courses that are written for the purpose. So I've come to another end of another song, another Italian lesson presentation. Was lesson number 18. So not bad, we're getting there quite well. Now I have to put all this onto the other areas online. Okay, so I'll do that. Well, I'm finished for today. Ciao a tutti, grazie mille for coming on. Let people know that you're on. If you want to call me, you can. Anytime, I would appreciate it. Leave messages online when I'm doing it, whether you like what I'm doing or not, whether you want to suggest something, please do. Don't be shy. Okay, grazie mille di nuovo. I'll finish off. Tom Padula from Tom Padula TV on YouTube and Insegna Booksellers. Alla prossima.